Cool. So, welcome everyone who joined. And I have with me Tabor Walbeck. He is the data scientist at Rapid Circle. And I believe everyone is able to hear me out, right? Uh,
I, I can hear you. Yeah.
okay, cool. Cool. So hello everyone and welcome to the session. Bhaskar, I believe you have started recording.
Yeah, Anjali, we are recording this.
Okay. Okay. So I have with me my partner Bhaskar. I am in a little remote area. So if my network get down or something happens, Bhaskar will be taking it up. Bhaskar is a data scientist and he is the chief data scientist of Multicloud for you. And he will be sharing the host stage for with me. And and Tabor, who's the speaker and he's the data scientist at Rapid Circle, is with us and he will be giving the session today. So let's start with the statement by Hans Rosling. So most of us need to listen to the music to understand how beautiful it is. But often that's how we present statistics. We just show the notes, we don't play the music. And that's where I think Thabur is wanting us to let everyone understand that how important um the presentation of data is. If it's not useful, uh, there's a huge. I would I would request people to go on mute. Bhaskar, if you can put the person on mute.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So yeah. If you understand the statement, is like most of us need to listen to the music to understand. So everyone listen to the music, but that's more like a notes, right? So you just dance on the tune and everything. But if you need to understand the music, you will have to dive deeper on the music, the meaning of the music. Then only you will understand the beauty inside the music that is there. And similarly, the data also, the people who play at the very high level of the data, they don't know the beauty of the data which is hidden inside. And that's where the data scientists actually come into the picture. That's where the analytics people who are doing the real analytics comes in the picture. And the very most important of it is unless and until you do not understand the meaning of every field or the data that is hidden there which you are analyzing, and if it's not connecting and giving you business value, it's useless. So that's where it says, and that's why I like this quote and put it at the first page of this of the presentation of the session today. So if I talk about the session today is session is itself says value driven business reporting with Power BI. So it's more like Power BI. There are many people who does reporting on Power BI, Tableau, and there are multiple tools that is there in the market. Go onto the cloud platform, and on every cloud platform there would be a tool today, and it's not a big deal. One other day when there were very little reporting tool like Hyperion were there, and we had to do a lot of things. SSRS was there. We had to do a lot of thing R&D and experiment to deal with it. Now it's very easy kind of thing. But the biggest problem is the business getting value of data, and that's where the session is. If you can go on mute, Archana. Hello, hi. So, so if we talk about multi-cloud for you, as the list suggests, we talk on multi-cloud, we talk on data and AI, we talk on blockchain, and we have direct partnership with couple of blockchain companies. Primarily, we work with Arc, which is a latest and greatest DPoS-based blockchain. We talk about engineering, that's extreme engineering. We talk about a lot of innovation practices and policy around the engineering practices and the tools that we follow and the use and latest adoption. And actually our motto is to transform everyone to the fifth industrial revolution, because now things are transforming with the latest COVID-19 being happening today, and the way the world is transforming um, to fourth industrial revolution and the fifth industrial revolution. Everything is going to shift and we need to be ready with that. So we are a community. We are trying to transform everyone with us to the next phase of engineering, which is in line with the fifth industrial revolution, which is in line with the fourth industrial revolution. We'll obviously talk more in our digital transformation session that we are soon to organize on how the world is changing and how we need to be ready as an engineer and as a group together. It's a multi-cloud learning platform. There's a niche engineering stream implementation and migration management, and there are multiple cloud and technology session that happens, and we also do partnership with multiple cloud and technology platform. Uh, Coming to the next, so Thabor, I think it's better if you speak about yourself here.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, you already introduced me in the sense of being the data scientist at Rapid Circle. I've over 20 years of experience in a lot of different roles in data, BI, project management, all kind of consultancy, working around the globe in all kind of global functions. So I've seen quite a lot of business related topics coming by in all sorts of ways. And yeah, I'm a data freak, so I love data in any sense. Yeah, I don't really pinpoint myself to one specific area. I just love working with data and love to present to them.
That's great. Yeah, and you can connect to Thabor on his LinkedIn profile, which is in there, and it'll also get recorded, and later you can find it out. So, and then uh, this is me. I'm the inventor, leader, mentor, founder, and enabler, and I'm chief evangelist at multi-cloud for you. I believe people can see my screen, right? So it's okay.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Yes. Okay, cool. And so it's a multi-decades of, I have a multi-decade of direct service with the IT industry. In the past, I have worked with publishers, RBS, Microsoft, and multiple companies, government, and NGOs. And I have a different kind of the way Thavor described himself about. I have a multi-dimensional experience. You can connect with me on my LinkedIn profile, which is here. Um, our lifetime membership is now available for free for a limited period offer, which is like on you can create at account at multicloudforyou.com. And then obviously there are multiple tools that are coming up in the future. Like we're bringing up apps, we're bringing up blockchain based tool, and everywhere will get the access. And there will be a point based system. There is an insurance based system that is coming out for a speaker, listener. There's a big group coming out, and a manifesto coming out. So everywhere will be involved, and be taken care of. If you have any issues, you can go into the help and FAQ page. There is a link here. This is also on the website. Certificate and live streaming. So it's customary that we provide the participant with the certificate, and if we have vouchers available by our cloud partners directly for certification or anything, we obviously do it through lottery. If you have any issues with the certificate or anything specific to certification or the sessions itself, you can go into our Telegram channel, which is also listed on fifthIR.com. This is our live streaming channel. You can directly go on the website and then you can search for this icon and you can watch. Radio is not working at this point of time. We'll soon bring radio back. Uh, this is our YouTube channel where you can go and subscribe today, and you see this, like, because we are all engineers, we have also tried doing some fun here. We have broken the QR code, but if you try to scan it, it will work. Uh, so why are we doing this session? Our primary motivation are we are not trainers, right? So we are seasoned practitioner. Everyone who comes here is like a time trusted, battle tested guy. He's working in the engineering firm. He's working somewhere. Every day he's facing his client, almost 12-hour, 10-hour maybe. I cannot comment on that. But yeah, they have a direct experience on production. They are bringing a lot of experience with them, and the only motto is to transform everybody and transform ourselves also together to the next phase of industrial revolution. And that's the motto is. And then setting up a big community, and whenever your path crosses either with a speaker or a speaker crosses with someone who is there on the ground, who is listening to him, or who got his certificate, you both guys could understand and say that you are coming from the same community, and there is a little affinity, positive affinity or attraction around you both. Uh, we are enhancing the capacity of innovation because we are widening your area of understanding and learning, and then they reciprocate what we have learned in the industry and lower the entry barrier for newcomers. So over to Thabor. So yeah, Sabur, Bhaskar, if you can change the presenter to Sabur.
I think I'm already Anna presenting.
Okay.
So let me start sharing. Just give me 1 second. So let me first check if you can see my screen.
Yeah, we can see. I'm just trying to put that on the streams also.
Yeah. So in the meanwhile, you will see my handles coming by.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you can check, is it okay if I start?
Yeah, you can start.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so good evening, everyone. My name is Tabo Wabik, as we already mentioned in the introduction. Thanks for that, Anjali. So today I will be talking about creating value or creating business value from raw data. And what I wanted to do is sort of showcase what that means. The session is too short to deep dive into things like Power BI and the technicalities of it. And so I'm not going to showcase all of that. But I do want to show you what it means to create value. And for this session alone, I've created not a presentation, and let's call it a clickable demo, for which you can see right now things going around in my social media handles. But the best thing is what I'm going to show you today. Everything is made in Power BI. So this is a fully Power BI presentation, let's say, or demo that I'm going to show. So that has like an extra additional value for you to also see what all is feasible and what can you do with a tool like Power BI, for example. So yeah, so what I'm going to show you is a demo. So let's start with the demo. And what I will do today is because where I started off is while preparing for today is okay. Let me start with some raw data and see what I can do. So how can we create value from it? So as people in the IT world know, we have the Adventureworks database, which is like a common database used in a lot of tutorials and trainings and stuff like that. And that has a lot of data in it, freely usable for any purpose. And I'm going to use that. So actually, what we're going to do today is we're going to help the Adventureworks company, and I'm just going to go through that and show you what we can do. So we have the Office of Adventureworks. So like I said, Adventureworks is a fictitious company. It's non-existing, but it does have a logo. It has a lot of things in it, departments and product information, sales information. And we would like to understand the business needs before we can actually showcase anything in any report or any dashboard. So maybe the first thing what we can do is just have a talk with the CEO of Adventureworks, just to understand what he actually wants, right? So let's have a talk with the CEO. So of course I've met him before. He knows me. Glad to see me back. He's also happy that you guys are there, and he wants to know what we can help him with today. So let's ask him a question. So what we would like to know is, from a CEO point of view, is like, what are the key values? What are the KPIs that you're looking at as a company, as a CEO? So what do you want to see, which gives you additional value to take actions on it, right? So that's the main purpose of a CEO. So our question for the CEO would be: could you list some of the most important KPIs, right? That's what we're looking for as a starting point before we actually can get information from the raw data that we have. So if you ask him this question, yeah, it is important, right? A CEO needs to have that kind of information because that's how they make decisions. So he has shared a PowerPoint presentation, even though I'm not going to show PowerPoint for you, but it's still on Power BI. But he has shared a PowerPoint with us. And this last point, what he's mentioning, is so true in a lot of companies where many reports are being made in Microsoft Excel. And as I'm also a big freak in Microsoft Excel, of course, there's a lot possible. But with the growing amount of data nowadays, it's Excel is getting out of its limits. The performance is not great. People are doing too many things in, let's say, one sheet. It just doesn't work. And for a lot of people, especially those working with or either Tableau or with the Microsoft Stack and in terms of Power BI, there are different tools that you can use to actually do way more nicer things than what we can do in the Excel sheets. Let's have a look at the PPT. So what is the main thing that we're looking at? So we want to create business value, and we want to create business value from data that we have. And we will look at the data later on. So what is important? What is important is we have to derive information, either from the raw data itself, or we have to add additional information. We have to be able to slice and dice. We have to be able to drill down into information. We have to be able to filter. We have to be able to showcase different kind of things. Visualization is of course one of the most important things, because visualization means that I'm not sure about the exact percentage in the world, but most of the people in the world are visual, right? So even you looking at this demo, you want to see something and you want to be triggered by something. So your eyes need to see something. If I would stop sharing my screen and I would only be talking, then after 5 minutes, most probably you will your focus will go somewhere else. So you need to have something appealing. You need to have something that is interesting to look at. And the fourth point is you need to be able to tell a story, because that is something that people can easily follow. If I show things that are completely not related to what I'm doing, or if it's not in my interest, then it's very difficult to follow the entire steps that I'm doing. Sorry for that. So it's very important to be able to, in some way, find a way to tell a story through the data. And the last part is that's more a back-end thing, but accuracy of data is also very important. If the data is not accurate, it's very difficult to create good business value. So either that means that you have to go back and get the accurate data, or you have to make sure that you do a lot of transformations during the process to actually make sure that the data will be accurate. So looking from that, let's dive into the Adventureworks database. So what you see here, and it's very small, but you can see it's a very complex model. It's a relational database. It has a lot of tables. It has a lot of columns. So each table has a lot of columns, and there are a lot of relationships between them. So this is difficult, right? So what can we do? So this is the raw part of what we have, and from this we have to get something out of it that makes sense. So this we have to create something that creates that business value. So there's a lot of information here. But that information is sort of, let's say hidden or not visual or visible, or so we have to do some steps to actually create something meaningful out of this. Now we know that at the Adventureworks company, they have a Power BI engineer working there, and he already did some steps before us when we came in, and he has created a dashboard. So let's just have a look at that, because he has also used the same database, and let's just see if he got something meaningful out of this. And well, to be honest, this doesn't look really nice. Although it looks nice, but it's not very meaningful. So what we're looking here is a Power BI report, and we see a lot of visuals. Some things might be a little bit interesting. Some things are very unclear. I see some visuals which all have the same value, so I'm not sure if that's correct. I see something here which I'm totally not fond of is pie charts, because pie charts don't always show the right information unless you put labels to it. But still, it's very hard to read. But like this combination of the blue and the orange, for example, it's really difficult to see that difference. So it's better to put that in bar charts, for example. And we see some information about automatic responses, average time per issue, orders. I see a lot of like technical names here. So I'm not really sure if this is going to help anyone, because who is looking at this dashboard? Is it the CEO? Is it some manager of a department? So this dashboard doesn't really give a lot of information. It's maybe even useless. Just 1 second. So what we would like to do first is understand what are the stakeholders that we're working with. So for whom are we making those reports? And let's say in our case, we would like to know a little bit more about the management team of Adventureworks. We would like to create some nice reports for the management team. So besides asking Adventureworks, of course, for a list of those names, maybe we can just have a look at the data, right? So we see there's a nice table here called dim employee. So maybe let's see if we can get some information out of that. And we see the table, it has a lot of columns. So maybe if we look at those two, last name and title, maybe that will give us some kind of information about the employees in the company. So let's just see what happens. Hey, and there it is. So we have a long list here of all the employees at Adventureworks with their job titles. Now I can actually check if that's true. Yeah, it is true. I see a lot of job titles here. And of course, I would like to have the management team. So what I do is let me filter this list and let's see if we can get the management team out of it. And there it is. So we have a facilities manager, human resource manager, chief executive officer, vice president of sales, etc., etc. Right? So we have an idea of the stakeholders that we should talk to understand their needs, to see what kind of KPIs do they want to manage and monitor and look at. So maybe what we can do is starting with one department. So in this case, we'll start with the HR. And why HR? Because we all are familiar with HR. We all understand that it's related to the employees, and maybe that will help us in understanding what kind of insight we can get. So if we look at the steps that we have, so there are actually 5. And I made these up, but these are the main steps that we do. Requirements, so getting the requirements, and analysis on the data, transforming the data, displaying or visualizing the data, and of course, presenting the data to our stakeholders and to the people using the reports, right? Looking at the reports and doing something with it. So if we look at, we can start. So if we look at the HR department, so actually we got an email from the HR manager with some requirements. So just let's have a look at them. Okay, so they want to see number of employees, hiring date over time. So there are a few requirements that I want to see. So maybe we can work with that, and maybe we can create some meaningful dashboard for that. So if we go in the next step, because we're not creating a dashboard right now. So first what we do is, again, back to the data model, understanding and analyzing the tables that we have and all the different relationships that are there. So what kind of information can we derive from the raw data that we have from the database? We use Power Query, which is showing us the exact entities, or let's say the exact records in the database. And for that, with some statistics, we can easily see what columns might be useful for us. We will get there in the next step. I'm sorry for the coughing, but cannot help it. So in the next step, we will be going to transformations. And what does transformation mean? It means that we want to find maybe additional meaningful information. So we have done an analysis on the tables. We have done an analysis on the data itself. What we can do is we can, for example, remove columns that are absolutely not meaningful, that don't contain any data, only null values or errors. Or so if we don't really can use it, then we just drop it. But for example, in the database, we have two columns, or actually three columns: first name, last name, and middle name. And actually, we would like to have like a column which is full name, right? That's very useful if let's say we want to showcase some employee data. So we're using DAX. DAX is a coding language, or yeah, I'm not sure if it's like an Excel formula, for which we can create like new columns. So in this case, we create a column which is called full name, and that will give us the entire list of employees with their last name and their first name. Sorry, first name, last name. And we want to create some additional insights. So in this case, we wanted to calculate the sales amount per employee, which was one of the requirements from the HR department. And we still have to work on that, as you can see. So we do have the full name, which we derive from here. And with that, we are trying to find a calculation to get the sales amount per employee. And of course, around this one is a lot of other logic that is required to think of. Because does every employee have some kind of sales amount? Where are we getting the sales amount from? We might need this from other tables. Is that relationship correct? So we do have to work on this to get the right data, and that is all what we do in the transformation phase. Then from all of this, we combine this, and then with that we try to make some dashboard or report. There it is. It's a bit slow while sharing the screen, but that's okay. So now we have a dashboard. So we created something simple just for this demo purpose. But this is the dashboard for the human resource department. So what have we done? We have plotted the number of employees. It was one of the requirements. So we can see that there are 296 employees. We can see the sales amount per employee, which is around 99,000 on a yearly basis. Of course, we can see the hire date, which is one of the requirements. So we can see in 2008, most of the employees have joined. We needed to see the number of employees by department name. So we have all the departments. We see that most of the people work in production. And then we have the number of employees by sales territory. So this is a sort of geographical representation of where people work. So now, of course, this will have some additional features in the Power BI, which will down drill the other information. So as you can see, 2008, 200 of employees have joined. And again, most of them in the production area. Look at 2009. Just updating a little bit slowly, sorry for that. 2009, 45 employees have joined, etc., etc. So it gives some slicing and dicing options that they can actually go through their reports. So this is, sort of giving business value. It's pinpointed to the human resource department. It's based on the requirements by the human resource manager. And of course, I can showcase hundreds of other things which might be interesting. But if the human resource manager is not interested in those kind of things, then why would I show it in a report? So that interaction in the start of the process is just very important, because you need to know and understand what would they like to see. And of course, with your experience, with your knowledge about BI, or with your knowledge about data, you will be able to add some additional things if you can find them and propose them in terms of maybe we can showcase this as well. Then the last step is pretty much the same, but of course we have to publish this. So in this case, I've published the report. and I can now share it with users, and they can actually have a look at it. So
Yeah.
now they can.
So adding to Thabor, obviously the way he said, so if you need to understand that and dive deep a little deep on inside Power BI, there are a couple of sessions that we have done, and the recording is available on the YouTube channel where you can go and see how to publish, and there are multiple more things coming up. And the biggest beauty that Thabor said that's very important for any engineer to understand is uh, either you do it for reporting or you do it for your software that you build. If you are just giving user a feature which they will never use, it's useless. So it's better to understand their requirement, and then if it's needed, it's good that you just don't just keep on hearing. You don't suggest them anything, but you suggest them, do a homework, and then suggest them new features, new analytic, or maybe a new report, whatsoever. But obviously, that should be meaningful and that should be useful for the person to whom you are actually giving, and that's where the experience matters. So
Yeah,
that's where the real learning is. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
and another thing about Power BI is DAX query, right? So initially, the people who may have joined, like let's say, they would not have done reporting for last 4 or 5 years, and they have suddenly joined. There's a lot of transformation that has happened in the initial reporting system. You used to write stored procedure, you used to write queries directly to the database, and then you used to build report. Now with the advent of Power BI and tools like this, obviously Power BI is a master here in those most of these reporting tools. Whatever is available on the cloud, there are multiple tools by different vendors, but the Power BI is the master. The biggest thing is that the way they have introduced connectors, where we in the past we had to do everything through database or analytic services or through different connector we had to build things. There is a ready-made connector, and then you can apply DAX query on the fly. That's the beauty of it, and that actually obviously that has evolved with the time. It's a combination of ROLAP, MOLAP, HOLAP, which was there in the background. The concept, if you would have understood, or if you don't understand, uh, we have Dheeraj Singh, who are chief data architect, who will be coming up and making us understand on the area of that, how the data and the analytics and the whole system has evolved. But the biggest thing is, even if you know everything and if you don't understand what Thabor is saying, it's all useless. So that's what I wanted to make you understand. Thank you, Thabor. Please continue.
Yes, thank you so much for that addition. Yeah, so yeah, just in between, I think all the things that you're saying are absolutely correct. So my intention is also not to showcase how Power BI works, or because there are many ways of retrieving data and connecting to data. So in this case, I'm just connecting to a SQL database, and in this case, I don't have to do any SQL querying. In this case, I'm just importing all the data into my Power BI dashboard. And using it. Of course, I can use a direct query connection where I just have a like a live connection kind of thing with the SQL database. But yeah, it's endless, right? So there are many connectors available nowadays in Power BI. That's also why it's one of the most top used tools for BI at the moment, because it's just enormous, and every month they are adding new things. So it's sometimes hard to keep up. Yeah, just going back. Yeah, we have created the report or the dashboard, which should have given some insightful things for the human resource manager. And of course, we have many more management team members that wanted something, right? So this is just for you to understand the difference in what I mean by understanding your stakeholders, understanding the different kind of information that someone will be looking at. So in this case, we already have looked at the HR department. So I'm creating some for finance, for sales, and for the product team, which the look and feel is all a little bit the same. Of course, that's a design choice. But for this purpose, I've used the similar design, so that if the company uses those dashboards, that whenever they go to it, they will recognize it, and they understand what they're looking at. So this is the finance, for example. We have like an example for sales, which is completely different because sales will be looking at, okay, where is my sales coming from? How are my sales managers doing? Let's say, what kind of products do I sell in what region? So there are many things that you can do for sales, because there are a lot of down drills and connections that you can make to derive information for them. Then looking at the product team as the last one, just as an example. Of course, this again is something different, and all these are, of course, we can have a look at it. So we see that maybe we look at clothing, and maybe we will look at some socks, clothing and socks, and now we can see that, okay, it looks like the green one is a sales amount coming from resellers. We have sales amount coming from the internet. And we see that for socks, for thin, lightweight, and some combination of something, we can see that mostly things are being sold by resellers and not much in the internet. So adding those kind of features where you can filter data, where you can look at specific information, that might help in understanding. So even the product team in this case, they not only can look at the what kind of products are being sold more, they can also look at the stock, um, but they can also share this or discuss this with the sales team. Like, why are we selling more through resellers? Why are we not selling more over the internet? Maybe for the CEO, it's important that in the next quarter we have to increase the internet sales by 10%. So where can we do that, right? So all these kind of things will be derived from dashboards and reports. So I'm just going to end my speech in a few minutes. So of course, we have created all the reports. The CEO is happy. Would like to see us back because we have created some more meaningful information from the data than what they were able to do internally. And coming back to the conclusion of what do we need? We need the requirements, right? We need to understand from the stakeholders what are they looking for, what kind of information do they want to see. We have to understand the data, because if we don't understand the data, then we can stop. So the understanding of the data is the first essential step to get started. Visualization we already spoke about. And then telling a story. So yeah, like how I did this today. I tried to get you some short insight because it was a short session, but just to try to tell a story about how that works, right? But what are the steps? And I hope that this demo gives you a little bit of an idea about how that works. Of course, we have not gone into any deep dive, but there are other sessions for that. But yeah, last and most important one is have fun. Have fun doing it, because that is just very important. So that ends my presentation. So I'm just gonna stop sharing my screen. I think there was a question in the chat. So Anjani, what would you like to do? Just go through the chats.
So, Bhaskar, if you have, you can read, because I have some issues reading all the questions. So, guys, I think if you have any question, you can ask to Tabor,
Yeah,
and we'll try to answer it.
she's asking if to highlight the difference between explain the use case and difference between Power BI and a report and a dashboard.
Yeah. So actually, there are three things. So we have a Power BI report, we have a dashboard, and what I've shown you today is a Power BI app. A report is, let's say, a single page that you can create, and even you can create multiple reports. And then in a dashboard in Power BI, Power BI specific then. So dashboard, you can do a few things. Either you can pin a report in a dashboard, but you can also create a dashboard with pinning visuals only. So let's say if I created 4 reports that I just showed about the finance, the HR, and let's say I want to create a dashboard for the CEO. I might be able to pick 4 visuals from each and put that in a dashboard. So the dashboard has multiple options, and the report itself is actually let's say the page where I'm working on a specific use case. So I'm not sure if that answers your question.
Yeah,
I think the
I think
second
that is
question.
like a photo frame and then photos, right? So
Yeah,
dashboard you can see. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. That's a good one. Yeah. It's a little bit more complex because you can even create a dashboard and then put that in an app, or you can create an app like I did, which is only containing reports. So there are multiple ways of doing it, but
yeah, obviously. So you can add multiple things. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so I think the second question is suppose we have a factory, we're measuring few critical parameters, blah, blah, blah. Can we do a stream analytics in Power BI and ring alarms? Yeah, that is definitely possible. It's slightly different because the setup is different and only works from the Power BI service and not from the Power BI desktop version. But yeah, you can easily use even Azure tools to get the entire stream analytics in Power BI as well. So there are many examples also online to find about streaming analytics. There are some simple cases to actually showcase your CPU usage on your own local machine in a Power BI dashboard, which is live. So the minute you open another app, it will actually show you in the Power BI report what is happening. So for a factory, definitely very interesting because that's a very good use case to use BI tools for it. I would even suggest to do more than that, but yeah. So to answer your question, yeah, definitely possible. Next one from Tushar. Can we illustrate dynamic changes in values of the parameters in Power BI charts? I mean, the values change real time and not in batch mode. Well, so Power BI is a BI tool, and BI is always based on not, let's say, live data. In some cases it is, but BI is normally not being used as live data. It's based on, let's say, stored data, and we derive information from that. There's no way in Power BI itself that you can, let's say, look at a visual and then change data. But there are other ways of doing that. Let's say, for example, including Power Apps in your Power BI report. And with that, updating data, then sending it back to the database, and then again having refreshes on your Power BI report, and then yeah, show the I'll say the updated data. But it's not a tool where you can let's say dynamically work with the data, change things in a visual, and that will update let's say the source data. That's not what BI is used for.
Indirectly you can do. So indirectly it's like you have to create a solution around it, maybe with the Power App as so we're saying,
yeah,
or maybe with the
exactly.
application, put into database, bring it back, take it into the query string, then again show into the Power BI. We actually there are many people who do it even with the SSRS reporting. SSRS reporting actually has a little different feature where you can pass the query string and it changes. But here it's a complete BI tool. That's what Thor is trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Let me just see then the next one, Sima, I think. Would Power BI be an ideal solution for big enterprise, or would it be helpful for small startup? Question was, yeah. So cost investment is yeah, very important topic within Power BI. Most customers that I speak to, the cost is the first thing that you discuss. Power BI is absolutely ideal for big enterprises. But then we're talking about Power BI Premium, which is like a capacity that you use, which has more features, has more things in it that you especially focused on enterprise organizations. It's relatively expensive, but of course for enterprises that relativeness is again yeah, not that expensive. But the Power BI
So
Premium
it's
is yeah, sorry.
so it's more like freemium to premium. So it's even if you talk about enterprise are built of multiple teams, accounts, department, and all. So not everyone will be interested. Even like if there is some pressure from the CTO directly or CEO directly or from CEO directly, that's a different case. But if it's just a single team working or there's a specific department asking for, or even you are trying to sell it to your client, take it from the freemium to the stages there in the Power BI to the premium mode where you can have dedicated server, you can have a lot of thing, and that cost them thousand of dollar. But obviously
Yeah.
it depends upon also depends on how the need is, how much data they are churning around, how much space they need, how much compute space they need, because everything which is there as a SaaS on the cloud is again based on compute, bandwidth, and storage, and you will have to find out, do a balancing thing before suggesting a premium option at the first go.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so Power BI has been as many Microsoft products has been introduced as a free product. So that's how many people have started using Power BI. But the free version, in my opinion, is useful if you want to create your own reports for your personal use, or maybe for your even in your work if you want to create some insights from data that you're working with yourself. The minute you want to share information with others, then in most cases you'll already get to the freemium version, which is the Power BI Pro. That's, let's say, the second step, which most people use. Then for enterprises, you will go to Power BI Premium, which I think starts around $4,500 per month. So that is for small companies that's just impossible to pay. That's too much. And then, of course, there's Power BI Embedded, which helps you adding reports to an app, for example, which you can add to your website, or which you will be able to share with others. And there's also an option of publishing publicly on the internet, but I would be very careful with that, especially with company data, because then it's freely available for anyone. So from a security point of view, don't do that. Okay, I think the last one is from Ankit. Any similarities in functionalities between Power BI and MongoDB? Don't really understand that question. As are you talking about MongoDB, the let's say the reporting part of it, or because in that sense, if I okay. Well, see, MongoDB, of course, there are tools that have, let's say, reporting functionalities, right? Even if you, let's say, look at tools as SAS, Salesforce, Dynamics, they all have their own reporting functionalities as well. But Power BI is solely used as a BI tool. MongoDB is a database. So in that sense, it is an additional feature in MongoDB. But I think you cannot really compare it. I would rather see MongoDB as a backend, same as a SQL database, and not as a BI reporting tool. Okay. Any other questions? At least I hope that answered your, yeah, okay. Thank you. Any other questions, guys?
Any questions? Can you hear me? We have lost you, Thabor.
No,
I'm still there.
Anjani, I think there are no more questions probably.
Okay, so we can announce the code now, right? So Yeah, so you have to go on to Bhaskar. If you can share your screen and show how to claim the certificate for this.
Sure.
Just share your screen and you can show. So yeah, so Bhaskar is trying to share his screen. He will.
Yeah, let me know if
So
you're able to see the screen now.
yeah, so I think the best way to do is like https www.fifthIR.com, or they can go into multicloudforyou.com/tv. HTTPS is must because some of the things will
Yeah,
not
it
work.
would be better if you can write this link in chat.
Okay, yeah, just write it down. HTTPS www.fifthIR.com.
I hope everybody is able to see my screen.
Yeah, I am able to see, and obviously other people would be. And then put your name, email, and phone number. So ideally, we announce it in the middle because that's the trick, so that we find out that people are concentrating or not. And then so try to hear it like we'll just announce it 2 to 3 times. Because there's no way we have other option to verify that you have already completed the session or not. To go next. So here the code is all in caps, and it's PBTW. P for Pune, B for, so again it's Power BI, P for Power, B for BI, T for Thabor, W for Walvik. Power BI Thabor Walvik, PBTW. It's all in caps. Once you do next, I believe you'll get your certificate in 2 minutes. If you don't get, you can go to the Telegram channel and connect with one of us. One of our team member will be able to help you out. So it's PBTW. I will not message it out. It's just showing it in Bhaskar is showing it on the notepad. PBTW. It's all full caps, and it should be done. So yeah. So thank you everybody, and thank you Thabor for giving us your valuable time. It was really nice session, and we learned a lot about more the perspective of business around Power BI, and obviously it's great, and we look forward for more session from you, and look forward for more session from people who also join. They can share their knowledge, and if they have anything to share, they can do the same thing.
Yes. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah, same here.
Thanks. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you everyone.
It was
Thanks everyone for
Bye bye.
joining.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.